think you guys know me. I'm Gary James. The Oklahoma Sooners. Next game to preview the West Virginia Mountaineers from Pelon Huskar Stadium there in Morgantown, West Virginia, under the head coach, Neil Brown and company. We'll take a deep dive into what West Virginia has in store for this year. Coming up next, 1982 Boomer Sooner. Boomer Sooner, everybody. You guys know me. I'm Harry James. Welcome back to the West Virginia preview show, everybody. You guys know what we're doing here. Stats, coach, everything you need to know about West Virginia and the Mountaineers. So, with that being said, let's do it. The West Virginia Mountaineers from Morgantown, West Virginia. More specifically, they played their home games at Pelon Huskar Stadium there in Morgantown, West Virginia. Coming off of a 5-7 overall year last year in conference overall and 3-6 in conference play, finishing in the 7th, 8th, 9th area, tied with Oklahoma, Kansas, and yes, themselves, West Virginia. Now, for the Big 12, West Virginia and Iowa State were the only two teams not to make a bowl last year. But Oklahoma State did beat Oklahoma State, I should say, in Stillwater for their big time win. 24-19 win there in Stillwater. Under their coach for their 5th year now, that is head coach Neil Brown. In 2002, Brad, from Massachusetts and the Minutemen. Coaching history, did a little bit of coaching with the Troy Trojans. Not the toy, the Troy Trojans from the Sun Belt Conference Eastern Division. Was there from 2015 to 2018, and in 2019, I should say, took over the West Virginia Mountaineers, where he's been, of course, the last 5 years. So, helping him get to where they want to be, the peak, get one more win. It's all they needed in the regular season to get to a bowl. Helping them get there won't be easy, but it gets a little bit easier with players like number 6, Garrett Green, who led the team in passing last year with 493 yards. 13 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, season-long pass of 71 yards, playing in 9 games last year's season. Leading rushers for West Virginia, C.J. Donaldson and Justin Johnson Jr. We'll start with C.J. Donaldson Jr., I should say. 87 total carries for Donaldson Jr., to go for 526 yards on the ground, 8 touchdowns, and a long-distance shot from 82-yard run, playing in 7 games last year. Justin Johnson Jr., 12 games last year, so he played in all 12. Coming off of a 98-yard carry year to go for 430 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns, including a long-distance run from 24 yards. And as we already talked about, played in 12 games last year. It's going to help if Garrett Green can find some wide receivers. And what they had to do for Neil Brown and company, they had to go outside the normal parameters and bring in some transfers out of the transfer portal. And they did that, including 11 Cortez, Brom, and Devin Carter. Now, Cortez Brown led the is leading the receivers from this season in catches for West Virginia with 31 total catches to go with 362 yards through the air, including a touchdown and a long distance reception from 46 yards. Played in 8 games last year for the Kent State Flash. So that's non-Power 5. They also dug deep into the Power 5 connections to go with Devin Carter. He'll wear number 5. Devin Carter, 25 total receptions last year to go with 406 total yards through the receiving, 2 touchdowns, a long distance reception from 52 yards, playing in 9 games for the NC State Wolfpack out of the ACC. So you go from a little offense, to a little defense. You got to play some defense. At least try to play some defense in the Big 12. They'll try. Are you ready for this? This is a new kid on the block in the Big 12. Their defense. That is Anthony Wilson, number 12. Anthony Wilson, 102 total tackles last year. A fumble recovered in an interception from a safety position, playing in 13 games did Anthony Wilson, coming over from Georgia Southern. They also have a returning player, Lee Kepoga. He led the current team with 92 total tackles returning, 0 forced fumbles, a fumble recovered, and 0 picks from linebacker, playing in 12 games last year for West Virginia. Hunters. We've talked offense, we talked defense. Let's talk a little special teams before we get out of here. That is, punting at least, number 41, Oliver Straw, 49 total punts last year to average 42.3 and average, 2 touchbacks, 18 ball punts landed inside the 20-yard line, and a long-distance punt from 63 yards. Straw played in 11 games last year for West Virginia. And then the regular kicker, well, that's Michael Hayes. Hayes went 11 for 14 for 79%, including a long-distance shot kick from 51 yards out, playing in 12 games for the West Virginia Mountaineers. All right, guys, that will wrap the West Virginia preview up, and we'll ship it out. We're a month away, people. Next week, we will preview the final road test for the Sooners in Morgantown, in Provo. Final Big 12 regular season game, by the way, also for the Sooners, as they will head to the SEC in 2 years. You guys know me, Mary James. You can follow this one on Facebook. Also, Twitter, at SoonerFan1982 and 1982 Boomer Sooner. Find that one on the YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. See y'all next week for the BYU preview. Until then, boys and girls, peace and deuces. I'm out of here. See ya!